Hello, everyone. It's hard to believe another year has flown by. As 2025 draws to a close, we're taking a moment to look back at the highs, the lows, and everything in between that defined life here in British Columbia. It was a year of significant decisions, unexpected changes, and moments that truly brought our communities together. I'm Jessica Chung, and this is CBC News BC's Best of 2025.
While Creston may be best known for its sprawling landscapes and fresh fruit and wine, it's also known for its close proximity to the U.S. border. Something that has Creston Mayor Arnold DeBoon concerned for his residents if Trump's tariffs come to be.
There is a real fear here that their lives are going to be very, very negatively impacted.
Creston is about 10 kilometers from the Reichert's border, which crosses into Idaho. DeBoon says many residents rely on that crossing for everything from shopping to employment. And he says the tariffs will undoubtedly affect the 3 lumber mills in the Creston Valley.
We are going to see mills possibly close or at least very much curtail their activities. And they are good paying jobs. It's going to have an impact.
He's also concerned for his neighbors down south. That's why he's helped form the new Border Mayors Alliance to bring awareness to how this could impact communities on either side of the border. It's just one of many signs that officials are preparing for the worst, with many saying buying local is important now more than ever.
And I hope for British Columbians at home, when you're at the grocery store and you have a chance to buy a product right now, you're looking carefully at the labels to support Canadian jobs and to support Canada at this critical time.
A message echoed by Loco BC, the group behind the BC Buy Local campaign, which predates the latest threat of tariffs.
Up to 92 cents of every dollar stays recirculating in the Canadian economy when you buy a local product.
She likened it to the COVID-19 pandemic, when support for local businesses soared.
Businesses that maybe provide for the Canadian market, but also export to the U.S. are going to be thinking a lot more about how to focus their distribution to the local market. And so, we really need to support them with increased purchasing from Canadian customers, and that will really help them out.
According to the Canadian Chamber of Commerce, every day $3.6 billion in goods crosses the Canada-U.S. border. Corey Bullock, CBC News, Cranbrook.
35-year-old Jasmine Mooney's family says she was detained by ICE March 3rd. They say she had been trying to enter the U.S. at the Mexican border with a visa application after her 3-year work visa was revoked in November.
She's been in shackles and handcuffs the majority of this time.
Jasmine's father, Stephen Mooney, says they were able to pull strings to start conversations at the highest level.
Normal Canadians or anyone else, there's 30 other people in her cell that have not even been spoken to by a detention caseworker. So there are people in there whose families don't know where their kids are.
On Thursday, BC Premier David Eby was asked about Mooney's situation in the U.S.
The nature of our relationship is so fraught right now that this case makes us all wonder, what about our relatives who are working in the States? What about when we cross the border? What kind of an experience are we going to have?
Stephen Mooney says his daughter is expected to be on a flight from Tijuana to Vancouver tonight. ICE hasn't commented on her case. Rafferty Baker, CBC News, Vancouver.
Over 100,000 visitors are expected at this week's Vancouver International Auto Show, eager to explore the latest models. But there's a major automaker absent from the event.
We are receiving overwhelmingly positive comments, agreeing that we made the right decision to remove Tesla from the show solely from a safety position.
The show's organizer says Tesla was given multiple opportunities to withdraw over the last 7 days, but was ultimately dropped a day before the show opened its doors. He says politics played no role in the decision.
So this is the city's beloved automotive event.
Tesla has recently faced strong backlash in Canada with protests at its dealerships due to Elon Musk's proximity to the U.S. President Donald Trump, who has threatened tariffs and annexation towards Canada. CBC News has reached out to Tesla but has not received a response.
I honestly think it was smart, especially in Vancouver. People like to react a little bit, and Tesla's not exactly a Canadian company.
Well, I think Tesla is quite controversial at the moment. So for people who are here to just enjoy the show and not get too involved in the politics of it, it's probably a smart move.
I feel like it's just kind of not a great time for them to be involved in a show like this.
Yahoo!
The company has also faced other bumps in the road this month. As of March 12th, Tesla vehicles have been removed from the province's EV subsidy program, a move Clean BC says was driven by eligibility changes.
You know, government can make changes and do whatever it wants to its program. We just have to administer it based on the rules that we're given. And they made the decision to exclude Tesla vehicles.
BC Hydro removed Tesla products from its electric vehicle charger rebate program in response to U.S. tariffs. And now its absence at this auto show, another sign of Tesla's ongoing tensions. Shivani Joshi, CBC News, Vancouver.
Of course, I've had to fund the business myself out of my personal savings to keep the lights on. Sorry about that. Pay taxes, all the things that come with running a small business. Didn't expect this. Sorry about that.
There's nothing to be sorry about.
But anyway, living in Osoyoos, and I've even had to make a career change. I'm now living in Kelowna. Started a career in real estate finance because I could see the writing on the wall. Have really good people that work for me, taking care of it for me while I do other things. I haven't collected a paycheck from my business since June of last year. Now it's getting to the point where I'm wondering how much longer can I pay my staff? We just did a survey within our association. 25 to 30% of the people are wondering if they're going to be here in 6 months. I was asked a question, how long do you think your business can remain solvent? And that was a punch to the gut because I really had to think about it. It's the first time I thought, am I going to be here? How long will I be here for?
It was a nail-biter of a game, but Team Canada has won the inaugural four-nation face-off tournament against their longtime and very recent rival, the United States, in overtime, no less.
Marner waiting. Connor McDavid scores! Connor McDavid for Canada!
And that had many hockey fans here in Vancouver literally jumping out of their seats in excitement.
Ecstatic, unbelievable, great game. Since 2010, haven't felt like this. Unbelievable, unbelievable.
That meant a lot, that meant a lot.
I am feeling incredible, exuberant, vindicated, and alive.
The game was won by Ontario native Connor McDavid in his first major men's international tournament, effectively a passing of the torch from Team Canada's captain, Sidney Crosby, to the team's next leader. People packed into local bars to take in the game. Here at Red Card Sports Bar, spectators were proudly sporting the maple leaf. With heightened tensions between Canada and the United States due to tariffs and 51st state talk, the game was about much more than just hockey.
This win means we need to carry this momentum forward. I think this is reflective of the passion that we have in this country right now. And I hope the rest of the world takes it as a statement that we're not a country to be messed with.
Relations between Canada and the United States remain frosty. I think it's safe to say the game garnered the attention of these two respective nations. Janella Hamilton, CBC News, Vancouver.
As Justin Trudeau prepares to exit political life, how will BC remember a prime minister with the deep ties to this province? And how has life here changed after 9 years under his leadership? Trudeau's 2018 decision to buy the Trans Mountain Pipeline, which runs about 1,000 kilometers from Edmonton to Burnaby, looms large in BC.
He said, you know, communities will decide, right? And so a lot of people in British Columbia felt that was a message that there wouldn't be, you know, a major oil pipeline built across Canada or expanded across British Columbia if communities didn't support it. And, you know, he backtracked on that.
The reversal on that 2015 promise met with opposition from the BC government and the city of Burnaby, and protest from environmentalists and Indigenous groups. But it's not the only part of Trudeau's climate legacy. His commitment to carbon pricing also earned him criticism.
At the same time, they did more than any other federal government in the history of Canada in terms of trying to deal with climate change.
In Premier David Eby's statement about Trudeau's resignation, he highlighted one area where the two collaborated to change life for BC parents: childcare. And Trudeau's other policies for families have widely been lauded as a success.
His reform of the national child benefit has lifted hundreds of thousands of families out of above the poverty line, and I don't think any party will mess with that. That is a legacy for him which will be secure.
This province and the Prime Minister also partnered up to fight affordability on other fronts, with Trudeau pledging $2 billion to help finance a BC program to build rental homes on public land.
Our government thinks this is exactly the kind of visionary, progressive housing solution that people need.
But in expensive BC, housing prices, along with the cost of just about everything, have led to frustration, even anger at his government.
Like most governments, he has been flummoxed by the economic conditions that emerged after the pandemic, that inflation shock.
From his teaching days and Tofino trips to major policy and pipeline announcements, much of Trudeau's political legacy remains rooted in the West. Michelle Gassoub, CBC News, Vancouver.
The next Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney.
A landslide victory for the new face of the federal Liberals.
So the Americans, they should make no mistake, in trade as in hockey, Canada will win.
With Carney winning 86% of the leadership vote, the stage is set for a federal election, which could be called in a few weeks. His opponents have been quick to go on the offensive.
We have the same Liberal MPs, the same Liberal advisors, the same Liberal promises.
One of the first things he promised to do is a tax cut that mostly helps millionaires. He is telling you who he's in it for.
For the NDP, a recent drop in the polls could spell trouble in some ridings it holds in BC.
I think Carney has a lot of credentials and a resume to work off of.
This political scientist says Carney's central banking background could make him an appealing candidate for left and center-left voters.
It's hard to imagine that, and I think the data shows this, is that there's not too many voters who would see Jagmeet Singh as a more reliable person to go up against Trump and deal with this issue than Carney.
Singh's own riding of Burnaby South could be one the Liberals look to gain.
I'm usually an NDP voter, and it would sway me just because I don't want to split the vote.
While new Democrat strongholds like Vancouver Island could prove more difficult to sway, narrowing polls between the Conservatives and Liberals could signify tighter races in the suburbs.
Given that the sort of nature of the way suburban voters tend to sort of move back and forth, there's a strong likelihood that the Liberals could do better in Metro Vancouver and Metro Toronto than had been previously thought.
Campaigns from all three parties are expected to ramp up as Canada navigates a tumultuous road ahead. John Hernandez, CBC News.
I came here just to throw my emotion and throw my tears down.
Chris Nadalo is seeing this memorial for the first time. He was here 3 days earlier at the Lapu-Lapu festival, walking just meters away from where the vehicle rammed through the crowd.
It was terrifying because people are screaming and they're asking for help. It was so sad for me. That's why I came back, and the past 2 nights I don't have sleep enough.
His return here a chance to mourn and heal.
My birthday is turning tomorrow as well, so I was so lucky and thankful to God that He gave me another life. I know this is the first time that it happened, but it builds us stronger as a community.
11 people are dead following the horrific crash. On Tuesday, more details on the victims confirmed by their families and officials. Vancouverite Alexander Samper confirmed his mother, Glitza Maria Casedo, his father, Daniel Samper, and his sister, Glitza Daniela Samper, were killed. More than a dozen people are still in hospital.
Of the 7 people in critical condition, 2 are women, 5 are men, and they range in age from 29 to 66.
A 22-month-old is among the 3 people in serious condition. Online fundraisers have raised more than $1 million for victims and their families in 3 days. Meanwhile, BC's Premier vows an independent commission will look into keeping future public events safe. He says a public inquiry into the background of alleged attacker Kai G. Adam Low is also on the table.
I would like to do it today, but we are restricted in doing that because there is a significant risk of compromising the criminal investigation and prosecution. I think this individual is a mass murderer. I think he should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law.
Low is charged with 8 counts of first-degree murder. Police say the investigation will be long. Still, officers expect to reopen this stretch of Fraser Street in the coming days, giving this memorial more space to grow. John Hernandez, CBC News, Vancouver.
Oh my God, are you okay?
To find a dog in that state was heartbreaking.
Terry Sparrow and his fiancée Krista Brisk were walking on the Camosun Trail in Pacific Spirit Park Wednesday evening. Sparrow was throwing some gum in a garbage bin when a tuft of fur made him do a double take.
It kind of looked up at us and didn't make any noise whatsoever.
He says the dog, who they've been calling Oscar, was in terrible shape and could not walk.
Anger, disgust, it was just horrifying to see a dog left like that. I don't know how anybody could do that.
The couple fed and bathed him and brought him to the vet the next morning. The Dunbar Animal Hospital says in a statement the team was shocked and saddened by Oscar's condition, adding he showed signs of significant trauma, including multiple broken ribs, a dislocated hip, and a spinal injury. After posting about Oscar online, Terry says he received an outpouring of support overnight, and a family friend who volunteers for a dog rescue organization took him in.
But I've never come across something like this in 20 years.
Schultz says already Oscar is doing better, looking more alert, drinking water, and even standing up on his own.
I am hopeful. You can see he's got a lot of life in him. He's just been dealt a terrible hand. Dogs are so resilient, and I can't believe he's bouncing back, trusting me.
She says Oscar has a treatment plan and will eventually need surgery on his hip.
We got to be their voice. They have no voice, so in cases like this, it's up to us to help out.
The RCMP confirm it is aware of the incident and is investigating, and are asking anyone with information to come forward. Michelle Gomez, CBC News, Vancouver.
At the Holy Rosary Cathedral in Vancouver, a requiem mass for Pope Francis.
It was kind of a shock because I just became Catholic only 2 days ago at the Easter Vigil. So I didn't think that at all he was going to go away on Easter Monday. It's kind of poetic, like the priest in here put it. It felt like a movie.
The cathedral's vice rector says there is symbolism in Francis's death.
He dies on the day on which Jesus defeats the power of death, because that's what we believe as Catholics.
The cathedral has 2 vestments of the late Pope. One is a mitre made in Vancouver. Francis wore the tall headdress during Mass in Edmonton in July of 2022. On that trip, he apologized for the role some members of the Catholic Church played in the horrors of Canada's residential school system.
The beating was done by a Nisga'a lady, Julia Kozak. After the Mass, the maestro gave it to me.
At that historic apology was Kukpi Roseanne Casimir, chief of the Tecumloops Tishkwetmik First Nation near Kamloops. She met the pontiff on that trip and when other First Nations leaders traveled to the Vatican beforehand.
He is the first pope to formally recognize and apologize, for the atrocities committed against Indigenous peoples in Canada, through the residential school system. So I really hold my hands up towards him and his historic work in this reconciliation, with Indigenous peoples.
Premier David Eby says Pope Francis will be remembered for his humanity and humility, a reflection of his title of the People's Pope. Michelle Morton, CBC News, Vancouver.
It started to shake as I came back to the counter.
Penny Greening was recalling the moment when the earthquake happened. She says her daughter recently learned about earthquake preparedness at school and was quick to act.
I did not get an alert to duck, cover, and hold. Thankfully, she reminded me that that's what you're supposed to do. I got the alert at 1:41 p.m., which was well over 10 minutes beyond the shaking stopping.
Greening says it was concerning that she was the only one who got the alert on her phone, but not her husband or daughter.
2 minutes warning could mean saving their life.
In White Rock, Susan Baines also did not get an alert.
Here, the whole couch was shaking, everything around me was shaking, and I would have to transfer him to my chair to get out.
She says the experience was scary.
We would be really stuck because either if I went out of my chair and went onto the floor under a table or something that would cover me, now I'm going to be stuck because I can't get up into the chair myself.
Receiving a warning would help people with mobility issues to better respond to similar events, the advocate says.
Then at least when you are alerted, you know right away, okay, this is an earthquake. It wasn't a truck. It wasn't a nearby crash that made you shake. So you know to go into that mode of, okay, earthquake plan, preparedness.
In a statement, Natural Resources Canada says it will be investigating why some people didn't receive alerts. It says for an alert to be issued, the quake has to be of a magnitude greater than 5. A civil engineer professor says the alert system is critical to reducing damage and injuries.
We can shut off traffic to the bridge. So we can turn the traffic lights off, divert people off. We can stop people not going to the tunnel. Things like that could happen. We can potentially trigger shut off a gas line just so that we don't cause fire after earthquake.
The Ministry of Emergency Management and Climate Readiness says the earthquake that was felt by thousands in the South Coast was a strong reminder of the importance of being prepared and having a plan. Pinky Wong, CBC News, North Vancouver. A piece of Vancouver's history will soon be left in pieces. Bystanders bear witness to the destruction of the 115-year-old Dunsmuir house, originally the Hotel Dunsmuir. Admired for its detailed cornice atop the building and its historic brick facade.
It would be nice to see it like one last time.
I used to live here. It was a hellhole. And the old pipes would leak water into your room and all kinds of, the power would always go out. There'd be little fires in the walls from the power because the cable got old. I mean, the fact is that there's not much there to preserve anymore.
Built in 1909 at the corner of Dunsmuir and Rich Street, Dunsmuir House has served as a grand hotel, a barracks for soldiers, and a single-room occupancy housing complex. But since 2013, the heritage building stood vacant. The city of Vancouver hoped to salvage parts of the building, but reluctantly ordered its demolition after declaring it a danger to public safety based on its deterioration. City staff said there was a risk of catastrophic cascading collapse. The city says a third-party consultant estimated preserving the building's front would take over a year, which would pose significant safety risk.
So unfortunately, we can't save anything, which is really not a good outcome for this building. It is a building that probably does contain some hazardous building materials. The condition of the building did not allow it to be abated safely. So we're taking precautions. We have air monitoring around, the poly on the fences.
Responding to CBC News, the building owner, Holborn, says it is assuming all costs for the demolition, but did not disclose the amount. The developer says it remains committed to redevelop the location for revitalization that would benefit the community. While the majority of demolition is expected to finish by Monday, the city says it will take 6 to 8 months to clear all the remaining debris on site. Pinky Wong, CBC News.
Long lineups for road tests in cities across BC are the reason for new changes to BC's driver's licensing program, according to the province.
We're removing barriers for particularly people in rural communities to accessing driver's licenses. We know that transit's not universally available in the province.
He's a great kid and he's a great driver. He's very safe, and I'd like to see him just be able to go to work.
Should be safe, I would think, yeah.
25 years ago, the province brought in the graduated licensing program. Potential drivers start with a knowledge test and vision screening to obtain an L or learner's license. After a year of supervised driving, a person needs to pass the Class 7 road test to get your N or novice license. After 2 years of safe driving, a person can take the Class 5 road test as the last step to qualify for full driving privileges. The changes mean no final test or exit test for drivers, but adds another year of restrictions and also creates a new motorcyclist licensing program.
The data shows that experienced driving is what reduces the risk of collision rather than an exit test. And so what they're doing is removing that requirement consistent with every other province in Canada except for Ontario.
ICBC's pass rate in 2025 for the Class 5 exit road test is 74%. This driving instructor says having 2 road tests has not improved people's driving quality.
People still tailgate, they're still aggressive, and it's even worse now.
He says the main problem now is distracted driving.
Everybody on the road now has a cell phone. So the drivers are distracted, the pedestrians are distracted, the cyclists are distracted.
The added year of restrictions gives the province more power to crack down on offenses, according to this lawyer.
They're going to have a significant amount of power to immediately suspend drivers for any alcohol in their body, any drugs in their body, or for any distracted driving. And this means they're going to increase their revenue on additional tickets that people can get, as well as license reinstatement fees.
The new rules are expected to come in early 2026. Mira Baines, CBC News, Vancouver.
All of this mud, broken trees and debris came crashing down the hillside late Tuesday evening. The slide has shut down West Side Road, the only route that connects several communities here along Okanagan Lake. These tree-lined slopes were badly burned by wildfire 2 summers ago, and officials say that damage, coupled with recent rain, likely contributed to the slide.
There's definitely loose trees. With hydrophobic soils, the water does just run off, but it is really hard to say. There has been quite a bit of precipitation in the last couple of weeks.
He says an initial search found no sign anyone was caught in the slide, but crews have been looking at an area where people are known to camp.
So we're going to have our dog team come through first with ground pounders. Other members walk inside, making sure that everything's safe, checking underneath logs, looking for any type of clothing or material that could be associated to a camp, homeless camp.
Officials say the debris slide covers about 50 meters of the roadway and is about 2 meters deep. Crews with BC's Transportation Ministry are checking the stability of the area and say they'll start clearing debris away when it's safe. But it's not clear when the road will reopen.
Residents will have to go all the way around until they are able to open the road, and it does take a lot longer.
Officials say a helicopter flyover of the area did not find any other areas of concern, but they say more precipitation or rain along these fire-burned slopes could change that. Brady Strachan, CBC News on West Side Road near West Kelowna.
With space for 1,100 students, the new school offers an update on the old Cow High that had been open since 1950.
Beautiful views. The school is actually orientated towards this Cowichan River, much in the tradition of the longhouses of the Cowichan people.
Teachers say the building is a massive improvement over the old high school, and not just because there's no longer a warning to run the taps for lead or asbestos in the walls.
The building is night and day. The children's behavior, the way that people feel in the building, the light that people have when they come in here, we all just feel a lot, just more energy. Like everyone feels more energetic and more like they're in a space that's actually aiding their learning rather than we're learning despite the space.
For student Justin Smith, who's a member of Cowichan Tribes, it's a noticeable change.
I
I like the new school quite a bit. It's very modern and it's very spacious. I like it.
The school was designed with input from Cowichan tribes, with a mini longhouse and shades of orange, green, blue, and red meant to represent salmon and their importance. Shapes prominent in Coast Salish art, like triangles, ovals, and crescents, are used as directional markers in hallways.
Just to feel that connection to our land is important for me, and to know that we have a part in the community.
We met with elders in designing the school, and the big part of what you'll see around the school is we also want our students who are of Indigenous ancestry to see themselves in the school. I think that's very important as we talk about moving forward.
The school features outdoor learning areas, as well as a new health clinic for youth inside the school, staffed and operated by Island Health. Claire Palmer, CBC News, Duncan.
You can step in, Justin. You can.
It started on the 18th hole of Two Eagles Golf Course a little before 7 p.m. Jennifer Pont was playing behind the two groups and recorded the video.
There was definitely some aggression and tons of yelling and screaming at each other. I guess there was a group of men on the tee box at the 18th hole, and they were frustrated at the group ahead of them because they were being slow all day.
Pont says everybody on the course was forced to wait after a morning tournament delayed tee times by up to 30 minutes. She says it was a great day for golf, but some players clearly lost their cool.
We golf a lot, and we haven't seen anything even remotely close to that. That was just insanity. It was just embarrassing and shameful and ridiculous.
The course is on West Bank First Nation land under Indigenous ownership. The operators tell CBC News, anyone who fails to adhere to the golf course rules will be banned. We will hold all parties responsible in the desecration of our beautiful golf course, and we formally request the parties involved acknowledge the damage done to each other, and we will be actively engaging in a restitution process. The operators say the fight is the first of its kind on the course in 20 years and will be dealt with the utmost severity. They're requesting a full report from police. Kelowna RCMP say everyone involved has been identified. A staff sergeant calls the behavior in the video nothing short of unacceptable. Rafferty Baker, CBC News, Vancouver.
Regardless of how we feel or the accomplishments we've made, there are people in the city that don't feel that way.
Vancouver Mayor Ken Sim says it's time for self-reflection after voters handed his party a setback in Saturday's City Council by-election.
We're going to take a really hard look at how we present ourselves.
Sim made the comments at City Hall during the launch of a new task force aimed at boosting economic development. He says the group will focus on cutting red tape and supporting local businesses. But the focus Monday remained on the election result. ABC Vancouver, which still holds a majority on council, saw both of its candidates finish behind all other municipal parties. Progressive candidates Sean Orr of Cope and One City's Lucy Maloney won the two open council seats with wide margins.
I think that ABC have lost touch with what ordinary Vancouverites are concerned about.
Both councillor-elects have pledged to push for more affordable housing and transparency at City Hall.
The people elected me to essentially be a thorn in Ken Sim's side, and I will do that.
One expert says the results were not too surprising for the ABC party.
They're upset with the power currently in charge. Moreover, quite frankly, the longer people waited in line, the less likely they were to think that they were doing a great job.
He suggests the new council dynamic could shift the tone at City Hall.
We're far more likely to see a bit more left-leaning populism in terms of the response to ABC.
Despite the setback, Sim says he stands by his party's candidates, including Jamie Stein and Ralph Kaisers.
Those two individuals were of high character and quality, and they would have served the residents of Vancouver well.
The mayor says he looks forward to working with Maloney and Orr, who were both present during the announcement.
We welcome diversity of thought, and so it's okay. It's all great.
Once the new councillors are sworn in, Vancouver City Council will be made up of 7 ABC members, including the mayor, 1 independent, and 3 from opposition parties. Official results of the by-election will be confirmed on April 9. Surrey Junos, CBC News, Vancouver.
The reasons votes are still being counted, extremely long lines throughout the day at polling stations. Our municipal affairs reporter Justin McElroy joins us in studio with more. Justin, what led to those lengthy lines?
Those long lines started early in the morning at Britannia, at Trout Lake, at Kitsilano, and so many places across Vancouver for this by-election. And they never let up. 1, 2, sometimes we heard about 3-hour lineups throughout the middle of the day. It became the top story no matter where you were. People wondering, how could this be? Typically, by-election turnout is around 10, maybe 15% at most. You don't see lines like this. This time you did. When we put forward the question to the city earlier this afternoon, they essentially said the reason for the long delays was simply lots of people being out to vote, saying the elections office is heartened to see the community commitment to participating in this democratic process, especially when by-elections have historically had low voter turnout, saying they didn't expect and modeled this many people. And in fact, that bears out when you take a look at how they budgeted for this election. And this is the real question. So in 2017, there were 50 different polling stations the last time Vancouver had a by-election. You can see them all around the city. This time around, let's swipe the map. There was just half that, only 25. So large parts of the city where there were none, so doubling up where people had to go. At the same time, the city of Vancouver cut by-election staff by 62% compared to 2017. So way less people around to help manage it. If you're an optimist, you say that tens of thousands of people came out and waited in line for many hours to exercise their democratic right. If you're a pessimist, you might say that the city of Vancouver had a situation on their hands today that they just weren't prepared for.
Digging out their sleds near Sycamoose earlier this month,
shit, guys.
Wally Taylor and his friends spot a wall of snow crashing down.
Luckily, just got the sleds. We got out of there in time, but just the force, the impact when it hit the snow or hit the snowmobiles was really strong.
No one buried, but one sled thrown 30 feet rolling down the hill. For Avalanche Canada's Ian Snowsell,
I mean, it's definitely good news, something we're pretty happy about here to hear.
In fact, so far this season, not a single Avalanche fatality. Snowsell can't point to a specific reason. Last winter, 12 people died in Canadian slides. 15 were killed the year before.
Over like a 10-year period, the average of fatalities has been coming down. So hopefully part of the factor is people are becoming more aware and more educated. I do think we've had a relatively stable snowpack this winter through most of our regions.
This latest cold snap creating frozen snow layers that could lead to increased avalanche risk, all depending on the snowfall and weather to come. For Wally Taylor,
I realized how bad it was and how much we could have gotten hurt.
His video of the slide has now gone viral with more than 1 million social media views.
We just wanted to put it out there to give everybody a reminder and keep it fresh in their head that it's high avalanche risk.
A reminder winter and the danger isn't over yet. Tom Popick, CBC News Kelowna.
Initially, it was called the Friendship 500, a boat built for Expo 86 designed to showcase futuristic technologies. But everyone just called it the McBarge. Half McDonald's, half barge, 100% an iconic part of Vancouver's history. It floated in False Creek and served millions of customers during Expo 86, when the world came to town and the city changed forever. But there was nothing false about the nostalgic memories people had for the McBarge, and in the 4 decades after Expo, it took on a life of its own. Because it was empty and floated between owners and ports, there was always another picture to refurbish it, or a viral story about its past, or even a cameo appearance in the 2004 film Blade Trinity. A vessel for speculation and nostalgia as delicious as a Big Mac. But the hopes and dreams and mystery of the McBarge were as frozen as a McFlurry, day after day, week after week, until sometime last night, when water started being taken on, and in this lightly populated industrial area of Maple Ridge, Nobody noticed until the morning, and by then, it was too late. Howard Meekin, the Gastown developer who has owned the McBarge for many years, did not respond to a request for comment. The city of Maple Ridge tells CBC News that bylaw officers went to the scene and had reached out to the Coast Guard and Port Authority. Because of the overlapping nature of governmental jurisdiction, cleaning up derelict boats is a complex process. The one imagines this sinking vessel might be dealt with a bit more swiftly than the lineup for fries near Main and Terminal on a Friday night. Dreams die, boat sinks, memories for millions of British Columbians will slowly fade, but friendships are forever. Justin McElroy, CBC News, Maple Ridge.
So I live in Vancouver, and I have no friends.
23-year-old Anna Ho is on a journey, taking on 30 activities 1 week at a time in the hopes of finding friendship.
I started it because I kind of hit like a rough patch in my life where, as you grow older, you outgrow friendships, and sometimes you have different morals with your friends, and so you kind of have to put yourself first. I'm on my way to an Airbnb to meet a group of strangers.
Some of her activities have been riskier than others, like going to a music festival with people she doesn't know.
Throughout the night, it was actually kind of hard to talk to people in this type of event.
She's also gone to painting classes and used an app to meet friends. Her videos have garnered hundreds of thousands of views, and her comment section is full of people who say they're lonely too.
I feel like not a lot of people talk about it in terms of dealing with loneliness, especially in Vancouver, because there's like a saying how Vancouver is like the most unfriendly city in Canada. And to a certain extent, I do kind of agree with that.
So do other Vancouverites.
I found difficulty making friends when I moved from a different city because I moved from Kelowna.
And I think people have already selected their friends, and it's just a bit hard to fit in.
I think people they need to work on getting out of their comfort zone a little bit. I think everybody's a little bit lonely. Everyone's looking for company, especially in big cities like this.
This UBC professor specializes in friendships. She says things like rain can explain why Vancouver can be seen as a lonely city.
So just looking at the geography and the weather patterns of a city can tell us a bit about how much effort people have to make to be social.
Still early in the challenge, Ho says she's made one genuine friendship so far. She says even if she doesn't make more friends,
well, that's okay. Character growth.
Yasmin Ranea, CBC News, Vancouver.
For some, that's a disruptive wake-up call. For others, it's welcome news.
I think it's a reflection that what these guys feed on, there's lots of it around, because if there wasn't, they wouldn't be here. So I think that's a positive comment on the ecosystem coming back.
Peter Carney has lived in his home for over 20 years. Although he's seen California sea lions in the spring, this is his first time seeing them on the docks this winter.
They're social, they bark all during the night. We happen to enjoy it. It's kind of like the guys serenading you. But I can see how some people don't.
Although some have tried to keep the beasts away.
See the dock here with the orange fencing on it? They put that fence there to keep them off.
Oh, okay.
Because they were there last year and there would be 20 on there, and they're very loud.
People that live right where the sea lions are, not so great for them because they're noisy.
No, I don't live close enough to hear them. People that live right on the water do have different opinions, but I mean, they're part of life, so yeah, no, they're great.
I talked to Bob Turner. He's a local filmmaker, former mayor, and a marine conservationist about the reason sea lions have started roosting in the area once again. So what does the return of all this kind of marine life indicate for, the island, but also just broadly?
Well, we've colloquially called it the Great Howe Sound Recovery. It's really been a wonderful story over the last decade of essentially the industrial pollution being taken care of and the marine life coming back. And the herring are being part of that. And we all have seen sort of the humpback whales come back in. We've seen seal populations go up, and we've seen orcas show up. Sea lions are part of that. I mean, the rest of us are thrilled that sea lions are here, but boy, if you're a waterfront owner with sea lions on your dock, that's a tough thing to deal with. You know, sea lions are protected by federal law, and so you can't disturb them. So it complicates things for people who sort of are those waterfront owners. What I have seen is people have attempted types of fencing on their docks to prevent the sea lions from getting on in the first place. That seems to work in some places, but in other places I've seen the fences pushed down. So I think we're going to have to sort of figure this out. But you know, we're a smart bunch of folks. Good ideas will start to migrate, and people will start to be able to perhaps protect their docks better.
So, if you're hearing a sea lion symphony on the island, it may be a positive sign. Shivani Joshi, CBC News, Bowen Island.
Last year, the Whitecaps in Inter Miami were supposed to play a game. It was promoted, the tickets were sold at a premium, promoting Messi, and he was a no-show. And that really left a bad taste in some fans, some ticket holders' mouths about him being a no-show. Here's one ticket holder we spoke to earlier today.
And I was very disappointed, to say the least. But this year is different. The club handled it way better.
So what they mean by handling it better is that the tickets weren't sold at a premium. There was no promise that Messi would actually play, and this game was really promoted as being a high-level competition between Miami and the Whitecaps for what is an international fixture.
So, Chad, aside from Messi, what are the stakes in this game?
Yeah, so this is a two-game semi-final for the CONCACAF Cup. So the winner of this series, a game here and a game in Miami on April 30th, will go on to the final. If they win the final, then that team goes on to the World Cup Club Championship. So that's a big deal for this club, and Messi being here is going to be celebrated. But Whitecaps fans here tonight, they're saying, hey, listen, we're going to cheer loud. We want our team to win. Here's the president of one of the supporter clubs, Southsiders.
To basically tell everybody else in the stadium, like, no, we are better than this other team. It's going to be really, really joyful.
Hundreds of people at Surrey Civic Plaza are taking in music performances at Let's Hear It, Junos Plaza Party.
I love it. It's amazing. It's Surrey. Surrey's been growing all this time. It never has such a good reputation as it has now.
The festival's lineup includes Juno nominees Tyler Joe Miller, Channi Natta and Inderpal Moga, as well as Punjabi music icon Sarabjit Cheema, and more than 30 local BC artists across 6 different stages.
I love the exposure of watching pretty much it's like strangers watch you play and all that stuff. I think us as musicians, we have kind of like a lot to say. We have a lot of people that we want to like communicate our passion for music to, right?
This is the first time the Junos will feature an awards category for South Asian music. Organizers say Saturday's festival celebrates BC's diverse music scene.
The other is that we all know that Surrey is booming with artistry right now, especially from the South Asian music scene. It is the epicenter of that diaspora's music scene right now, and we really want to celebrate that.
The event is a part of a province-wide tour leading up to the 2025 Juno Awards, set to be held at Vancouver's Rogers Arena on March 30th. From long-time fans to first-time concert goers, organizers say the tour is about making the Junos accessible to people across the province. The family-friend event also featured open jam sessions and an opportunity for artists to collaborate with other music enthusiasts. The Let's Hear It BC tour will also be making stops at places like Prince George, Terrace, Kelowna, Victoria and Nanaimo. Saurabh Sadhu, CBC News, Surrey.
Vibrant colors, live music, and food, all part of Vaisakhi. It marks the birth of the Khalsa and the start of a new harvest season. And for many, it's a time to get together and celebrate community.
Seeing all the people from all communities come here together, it's amazing. That's what Sikhi is about.
Like all the community are together and we are serving the free food and also people are enjoying and then we all pass our other generation.
And it shows how just welcoming this is, especially because there's so many people around the world coming here, and I feel like it's a really important day for me.
Organizers say the Surrey Vaisakhi Parade is the largest in the world and estimate this year may be the largest yet, with between 500,000 and 600,000 people attending.
This is the largest diaspora community of Sikhs outside of Punjab, so everyone has family here. So you'll have people from England, Australia, the United States, Europe, everyone coming here on this weekend.
Singh says for many, it's also a time to talk about current events and express opinions.
While there's a festive kind of celebration going on, there are some serious matters that people are here with as well. We saw transnational repression, we saw foreign interference, we saw Hardeep Singh Nijjar's assassination.
Politicians from all levels of government attended, including Surrey Mayor Brenda Locke, Premier David Eby, and federal NDP leader Jagmeet Singh.
It was a huge honor. I'm always touched by how much love people show. It was overwhelming.
The Surrey Police Service had extra officers, including from other jurisdictions, out to manage crowds.
It's about coordinating the parade. It's about making sure everybody is safe and that everybody stays with their families.
An important part of the festivities is the practice of seva, or giving out free food.
I call it buffet here. We have veggie burgers, we have sugarcane juice that we press freshly, we have pakoras, and we have curry chawls.
Hundreds of volunteers work to deliver meals and snacks to Vaisakhi goers.
It's a great feeling, it makes my hair stand up to see people out there appreciating.
This year marks the Surrey Vaisakhi Parade's 27th year.
Well, that's our look back at the biggest stories of the year. 2025 definitely gave us a lot to talk about. We appreciate you following along with us this year. I'm Jessica Chung. Thanks for watching.